Welcome back, audience. Hope you're doing good, as always. I have a few things to share. How I see the world from this side of the pond. Well, uh, I see people mentioning Psyops and as some sort of operation to install a belief system in people. Okay. First of all Psyops, or rather, all belief systems, which is ego, is always trying to replicate itself. It's a viral entity. So if anybody has a belief system, every time they talk with somebody else, always notice what kind of communication is going on between two people, because there are types of communications. There might be the communication like we're playing. It might be communication, I want you to believe in something. I want you to believe in this thing that I'm saying, because that will reinforce my belief in it, will reinforce my ego. So then I feel safer in the world. And so I don't really have to face the essence, which is fear, pain, sorrow, whatever that may be. So I could just keep continue living in this world without facing that thing. Um, Ego is a coward. Anybody who functions this direction is a type of coward. And I always say that it's a directional thing, because it is. Why am I saying direction? Because it is so, metaphysically, physically, whatever you want to say it. I don't know. I don't at this point, like scientists, perhaps few scientists do investigate these things, but this will become something that is known, of course, in science. It's known in astrophysics, the way everything works, and sometimes when they have their mind boggled, how is it possible for example, for time to move in the opposite direction? That's when they're picking up something that has anything to do with how the energy moves in your soul. And so your soul could move away from itself, that's ego, or towards itself, that's soul. It's a directional thing. And electromagnetically, it also can be observed in magnets, the way the magnets interact. I don't want to go into this too much, but I just want to say that it is a directional flow of time itself, the primordial time, not chronological time, not even chirological time. This particular time is in a soul level. They call them eons or aeons, right? And it's a direction of this particular energy flow determines whether you're living from the heart or from the ego. That's that. That's it. It's a directional thing. You can move in this direction or can move that direction. It's simple. In which direction the time is flowing in your soul, in your heart. Okay? If the time is flowing in the wrong direction, you are engaging in some sort of activity to do with the matrix. You're playing matrix game. Okay? If it's moving towards it, you are in a holistics and you're playing holistics games. These are soul games, and then there are another direction. There are ego games. Okay? And I'm gonna add it in my book, the diagrams and photos and the pictures of this electromagnetic dynamics that I'm talking about, that I'm observing in my own consciousness, and I can see the same thing happening within astrophysics and physics as well. And so it can be visualized, I suppose. So, okay, it's a directional thing. There's no other discussions about that. I'm just making it so simple. And where is your attention flowing? Okay. Okay. Now, if the energy is flowing in the backwards direction, it does not matter. It does not matter what's going on there. It's all going to be about the same process. It's about avoiding the sorrow, creating belief system which gives pleasure, so you can keep going in the matrix way, right? Now, why do you see this phenomena of these belief systems trying to replicate itself so strong that there are millions of dollars spent to have the implants on social media to spew the belief systems? It's basically doing bad hypnosis, you know. um and just But why does it work on people? It's very simple. It's because they need to pacify their sorrow. They need to pacify their suffering somehow. And so grabbing all to belief system works on the people who move in the wrong direction in their soul, when they're not moving in the right direction by facing everything that is arising there in their heart. And there is a type of different energy flow, which makes you feel peaceful and blissful. The jungle action happening. Okay? So, and that's at the heart level. Your heart is at peace, in bliss. Okay? Your mind can still be active, your body can still be active. That's the type of peace I'm talking about. You see? Your mind could be super engaged into something and very, very active, but your heart is completely at peace. It is because of where you place attention, okay? And the nature of ego is to keep spreading these belief systems so it cannot be found out. So it's like that pain body, sometimes that people call it, like the pain body, right? It is that soul level, and sometimes people may call archons. They don't know that they're really talking about those negative feelings at the source of everything, really. And that thing, that structure in your soul, is doing everything it can so you don't look at it. Okay? And actually, um, the paradox is that there's something else there also that keeps telling you to look at it. And so then, well, what's going to win, the soul or the ego? Are you going to look at it? Another way of saying, like, accept what is, this is what it means. It means look there, the source of everything, and keep on labeling these things that are labeled negative. And you'll see that it's not real. That your mind just keeps doing it, but it's not real. Meaning that it's just shaped and named and labeled to be like that. But intrinsically, it is peace and bliss. And that's the game of life. That's the discovery, really. But until then, there's no game of life. Like if people are still functioning in this belief system, that's not life. They don't know what life is. They may have glimpses of it, but that's not life. So you see the same thing outside of you. You see the organizations who do not want to be found out, spewing the distractions about all sorts of belief systems, and people who are moving in this direction, who are emotionally vulnerable, latching on onto these belief systems. And so that's pretty much how it works. But it does not work on the people who move through the heart in the right direction. It does not work because I don't know, it just doesn't. Because because the truth is obvious on this side of the pond. And every time somebody says something that is coming from agenda, the spreading of a virus, because you live at that, you know, on this side of the pond, you can see through it. It does not come with a certain type of good imbued feelings attached. They usually have negative feelings. And so this is how you know that it's rubbish, that people are not um, talking from their heart. They're talking, they're gossiping. It's a type of gossip rather than the gospel. The gospel is completely talking from the heart. So this is why every psyop is a belief system, and spreading. And every belief system has a tendency of being a psyop. Okay. And I'm not doing this. I'm just always with my videos pointing to something that you need to do. Nobody else. Screw all of the meditations that you learn. Screw all of these people who taught you things about spirituality. Start completely without any preconceived notions and start looking at the source of all the feelings and explore it and play it and start moving in that direction. Then only then you can be a sovereign being. And then, like I said, um, there's no one to follow. I mean, it's very obvious to you because it's kind of, what the fuck do you mean follow somebody for what? Like, I don't mind like playing, co-creating and playing something, and creating something cool and playing around. But follow, what the fuck is that even? What for? It's nonsense. There are people who know skills. You can learn skills from them, but something that they can teach you about, like the spirit, no, no. I always say, and this is true, that the true religion, true spirituality is individual. It's never, it's just the nature of the, it's just the nature of things. Every time you have a group, it's bound to breed the belief system. So no. So I'm just repeating the same thing that I usually say, but yeah, you group over arts and sciences about you know about those things, but don't group over the spirituality and things spiritual. It's nonsense. So anyway, this message is about brought to you by Pfizer. Oh my god, that's how you know there's a psyop or any. I'm tired of talking about this. I'm just saying that just look at what it is. Okay, it's just the same old boring strategy of the ego survival. And there's no answer there. You cannot fix anything. You just have to go through this, the eye of a needle, and then you keep on popping on the other side. And that is the only true control over the reality you have. That's that's how you pull the strings of the reality itself. And this is why Psyops no longer work. This is why these people, the light is now, attention is being shined on them. And it's like, wait a second, you motherfucker, what the fuck have you been doing in FBI and CIA, committing treason and deceit and all these other things? And people can point exactly where it's coming from. They can be as slippery as they want, but the source of evil will be detected. And it's all this trick in a book. It's like when you're looking at something that needs to be looked at, it's like, oh, but what's that? What's that? Like, this is, you can trick a child like that, but you can't trick an adult soul like that, you know? And so, yeah, these people who corrupted um, the state, that's been doing this for hundreds of years, it's time for them to have the consequences of their actions. And I don't know, I don't consider them real. I know that they're 100% NPCs, that they're just um, executing the will of evil purely because they sold their soul. And I don't consider them real people, actually. Every person can still sort of regain a soul, but yeah, I don't know if that's gonna just be a destiny for most of them. I think most of them are just gonna be in jail or dead, or if they are in jail and maybe there's some introspection, there is a chance for them to, you know, burn all their ego in hell, and because there's nothing else to do there, and actually be a decent human being. Maybe that's possible. No, I'm not eliminating the possibility that that is possible, but it's, for most of them, is highly unlikely. They're pests. That's the way I look at them. They're pests that spread the virus on other people that may be innocent, and they don't know what they're doing. Most people, they don't know what they're doing, because few people know what they're doing and what evil is. So then again, the conclusion is that attention and awareness. And how do you know if, you know, those belief systems are being injected in you? It's very simple. Your mind is thinking. But if you're in your fields and that's what happens in your heart, and your mind is quiet, unless it's something that needs to be done, where mind is used appropriately. Right? Then it's usually okay. So some tasks that you have to do, some goals you need to accomplish, how you're going to accomplish that, resolving problems with the an external world to accomplish the goals and tasks. So that's the appropriate use of mind. But when it turns inside, and then these types of thoughts come about, that's, I think, something about people. I believe that, I believe this, I believe this, I believe that. That's not it. That ain't right. And to be frank with you, that is injected into everything. Even though sometimes I watch videos of people that I like, and because they have like a good vibe, and then they suddenly say something, and they give this some sort of massive credit to the biggest psyop agent, known, not through people who are being hypnotized by these people, but it's obvious that it's a fucking total douchebag programming people's minds. And then that person who has like a nice energy gives credit to this complete piece of shit, and I'm like, what the fuck is that? And the person doesn't realize that that person, that who they're referring to, has nothing on them. It has nothing on them. It has no soul, just a great techniques of manipulating minds. But the person has no soul. And this person with soul is giving the credit to that schmuck. And that's sad for me to see. Okay? And to me, it's like, oh, come on, man. Like, you can't do this. You can give credit to somebody who has a skill, a talent, or something, but not to the person who is hypnotizing people in the wrong direction. Rather than liberating them, they're trapping them. You understand? This is why I'm so against the entire industry of spirituality and the people who meant to teach other people of how to play with consciousness without any alchemy or devotion. And that's just, it's just making everything worse. Because you cannot, if they would actually speak the truth to people, then they would not have any role to play, right? They would not be able to have the followers and people who kind of, drinking Kool-Aid, right? That person is a test for your discernment again. I don't care if he sold a lot of books or whatever the fuck he did. What actually is going on with his message? Do people looking the source of all these negative quote unquote feelings and enter and see that there's a peace and the contentment and bliss, and that's everything that you ever want in terms of spirit? and you don't need no books, no knowledge, nothing. In fact, that's what you need to get rid of. So how is this person's gonna be able to play his sneaky role if that's the case? Even Osho admitted, he had his fun. Yeah, but he did admit that that because you guys are afraid to look there yourself, and you're giving all this authority to me, then okay, I'll play this game. Then you think that you need me, and so all right, and I'll play the games with you. Let's pretend that you do need me for something. And so he played the games, and some people caught up with that, um and brought it up, said like, you're playing a game with us, and he didn't deny. Of course, he did play the game, but there was, of course, like there's a lesson there. Um, don't be fooled. Don't be fooled. Don't be the Kool-Aid drinking idiot. That was the message. Another thing I have to say. At any point in time, these people who meant to be enlightened, right, or have the authority that like some sort of spiritual leaders, at any point in time they can lose their crown. It's, you see what I'm trying to say? They're not somebody who just like, okay, they're there yet, like they're already there now, okay, forever and ever. No. At any point in time they can lose their crown. It is an ongoing process. It's ongoing calibration. As long as you're in a time space reality, that process is taking place. You just become really good at it. But if you fall asleep and start playing the follower and the, you know, disciple and the guru game, or whatever the fuck that is, when you're in that type of dynamic, you lose sight of it. Because your attention now is there. Like, oh, you're getting clout from the outside, not from the inside anymore. Boom, lost it. Dethroned, motherfucker. Okay? And this is why these people that you may be looking up to as like this ethelon or whatever for the source of spirit, if you will, can be dethroned at any time, and it can come up, can be total douchebags and liars and all that stuff. And so because there's a different energy that's coming through them, okay, manipulatives, or they may use their status to get laid or whatever the fuck, like they may turn at any fucking point. I mean, they may have the reputation of not doing that and being and always living at the edge of life. And this is what Krishnamurti was talking about. Yes, there are these powerful transitions in life, but every day you're leaning against this. He was saying this: you have to die every day. He didn't say get to the point of enlightenment and sit on your ass and then tell other people how enlightened you are. He said die to everything every day. So is that some sort of accomplishment, or is just a way of life until the end of life? And the answer is, of course, latter. So you cannot fall asleep on your laurels. Laurels. Yeah, that's right. I said it correctly. Cheers. Probably not correctly. Correct me if I'm wrong. Oh my god. Okay. So I don't know what the fuck is going on. Everybody's playing their games. Few people don't, but then they do admit, they say like, yeah, this is something that you are always falling, and it's never, there is never a floor. It is a feeling of falling, and that's what makes you alive. And it's so wonderful, like you fall in love with living this at the edge of life, fall in love with facing everything that is coming every day. That's what life is. You know, and to say something about, for example, the outer layer, the body layer, your heart could be completely like at peace and bliss and in those feelings in a continuous alive motion. This is where like eons are infinite, and the energy is flowing in the right direction. Okay, and it's going inside and creating the storage field rather than going outside and always lacking the energy and splitting into two toroidal fields, which by the way, body functions in that split two toroidal fields. It's normal for the body to split, but your soul functions on the one, you know, like, um, you know, what you call it, uh, reciprocating toroidal field. And then when it's not reciprocating, it splits into two double torus field. And that is the ego. But a small layer of that belongs to the body, which is healthy. When the only ego you have is your body, then it's okay, right? Because your body functions on that, and it's okay. You see what I'm trying to say? Your body functions on punishment and reward, right? And for body, it's okay. It's not okay for the soul. Like, you know, if you got hurt emotionally, then you don't go to the same place anymore. That's wrong, right? Or you don't do the same thing anymore. That's wrong. That's not how the soul works. If you got hurt, the hurt just show you that there is separation inside of you. You place your attention, you fuse that motherfucker, and then you do that, whatever you wanted, that did not work. But now that you fuse that in your heart, it's gonna come out better, and then you do the same. Desire, the dream that you had, kept on going for that dream non-stop, and every time there's, you know, the hurt, you alchemize, keep going, keep going, keep going, keep going until it's there. But physically, like, you know, if you step on something sharp, next time it's very natural for you not to want to step in on something that is sharp and move towards something that is uh, good. Like the body wants to be in a good homeostasis, perfect temperature. It has its need for perfect temperature, has need for comfort, it has need for action, right? It has need for all sorts of things, and that is healthy. You've got to keep your body functioning like that. Your body's always wants something. Your mind may be also like at peace, dreaming something, but your body always wants something. And so this is not wrong. And also at the body level, there might be only at body level, fear is functional. Okay? It is to protect you. On a soul level, it will always bum you out in the end. So soul fear is not necessary. But body sharpness and vigilance is healthy. Okay? So if something happens, and it's just automatic reaction to step aside or something, that's healthy. There's nothing wrong with that, right? Or even if something's going on physically and you need to take an action because for the reasons of protecting yourself or other people, but you're protecting bodies, um, and then there's a moment of aggressions coming out of you to deal with that situation, that's perfectly fine. This is not hate. This is not soul hate or anything like that. That was a energy that was necessary to accomplish the task. So this is why in martial arts, for example, the best fighter is the one that has already alchemized all the fear in the heart, and there's no fear there. There's a complete peace and power stemming from the heart. You see? And this complete relaxation inside. But the body is on a full alert. The body is on a full alert. It has its own aggression packed in there, you know? Um, and it's working very efficiently because energy is not wasted on this internal anxiety. It's all now in the body to accomplish a task. Okay? And this is healthy. This is how you get shit done, and this is how you win fights and all that stuff, right? So, the same way in life, when you're trying to accomplish something, that type of momentary aggression, which is usually like an assertiveness, it's healthy. You use that energy to get something done, right? If somebody made a move that is not in accordance of how you want it to come out, you fucking make your move, right? And it's even okay to be pissed off at that moment, and you take that action like that. But there's no grudge holding. It was just like the action was taken, poof, and then that's it. There's no grudge holding, right? It's peaceful and quiet. The situation was resolved. That's it, right? So I'm just being very clear here, not to eliminate that functioning, that dual functioning, which is not okay in the mind and is not okay in your heart, but it's supposed to be totally belong in the physical body. And if you treat your body like this, then you will be happy. Some people, they go overboard and they confuse this body fear and body aggression with their soul aggression, and so they don't want to have at all any kind of functioning in the body, and they become these like weak zombie looking people, and still it's not healthy because they neglected the body. And body wants to move, take action, keep on saying the same thing, but it's true. Move, take action, accomplish things. Body wants to move. It's healthy. And that's the only place where pleasure is applicable. You're not seeking pleasure because there's suffering inside of you, because that's an addiction. But you're moving your body for physical pleasure, right? Because after do your work, when you do your workout, after the workout, you have this endorphins release, and it's a type of pleasure. And the body also receives pleasure every time it's accomplishing its goal. And of course, see, this is why it's such a It has its place, okay? That's not what I'm saying. This motion has its place. That punishment and reward has its place, but it's all in the body, okay? Um, it's like even sex. You could have sex out of addiction, if you're moving this way, right? But if you're moving that way, and you're moving from joy and enjoyment, then you're not having sex to pacify that negative feeling again, but it's a type of pleasure, and your body wants pleasure. So it's a totally legitimate act when you move from the heart. Okay? So there's nothing wrong in that case. But if you don't move from the heart, the sex is going to be used um, just for, how to say, propagating ego. That's what sex is going to be used for. You see? But anyway, I just wanted to be clear, not to be extreme. And, you know, honestly, all these things is kind of clear to you as you live life. Like, I mean, it's obvious. You don't need nobody to tell you this, you know? Um, but you have to realize, of course, that there's like, oh, there's a wrong way of doing things and there's a right way of doing things. And it's not a matter of opinion, it's physics. End of story. Because if it's a matter of opinion, then you're still moving in the wrong way, arguing about nonsenses, which belief system is right. None of them are right. If you're moving in the right direction, from the peace, from the bliss, as a basis of your reality, then everything else you'll see like, oh yeah, of course. How the fuck am I gonna get anything done if there's no reward system in my body, right? So the motivation is still there, but it's just a bodily motivation. And so what kind of needs my body has? Okay, these needs my body needs, you know? Okay, cool. And so you make sure that these needs are taken care of, but they're not, they're survival and reproduction needs basically. This is all your body really needs, okay? But and this can be observed that, okay, yeah, I see, if I deny that my body's not going to be healthy, it's not going to be happy, and that's not living life the way it's supposed to be. My body is built to move, and my body is built to accomplish things and feel the pleasure for accomplishing that thing. This is how a healthy body functions. You accomplish the thing, you feel the pleasure. Okay. Then you also start seeing things that, oh, my soul wants to create and play. So then you see that your soul also has a soul desire to create and play, the soul dream. You also see that, obviously. But the motion of energy now is backwards, or the opposite of how it used to be, where the ego wanted to have its own tantrums, you know, which was not a soul desire at all. But now you start seeing that, oh, there is this motion. But interestingly enough, that desire is fascinating because this is how it works. You have the basis of peace, bliss, and then the soul comes as like, let's play with it. Let's, peace, bliss, great. Okay, fine. Let's create something out of this. And so soul will have only satisfaction when there's a playfulness happening or creativity happening. Soul will not be happy unless this is going on. And of course, that is happening from the soul to the mind direction. Okay, so you have to be engaged in this type of creative and playful process for your soul to be happy, and you also have to engage into this pleasure seeking, pain avoiding in the body. You see? Yeah, well, I mean, even if you take example that normally, for example, like gym, right? That would be a you say, well, that's not really a pleasure seeking because you're going through like a painful process, but it is, you know, type of pleasure seeking. You're just earning it. You see, that's all it is, and it's almost like you earn your pleasure. This is what I always say. You earn your pleasure, and that's how body is happy. You earn your pleasure, and I guess earning your pleasure, you could say that to earn your pleasure, you have to make some sort of sacrifice that might be uncomfortable. It's not really uncomfortable, but it's almost like you have to break through. For example, sometimes you may feel like, oh, I don't really feel like working out, but then you go, you start moving around, the energy start flowing, and it's like, oh shit, this is nice, and you break through that discomfort just by doing it. But anyway, I don't want to babble too much about this. This is something that should be known from the early age in every human being and be such a normal thing that it's not even a conversation. The fact that I need to explain how consciousness works in a healthy way is just shows of how fucking ridiculous and how far down the downward spiral the whole society went. But anyway, I honestly think that the rock bottom is reached and the trajectory has shifted. All right, guys, that's it for today. Then peace, and I'll see you in the next one.